Welcome to The Soul Space, the podcast that inspires you to discover your truth, ignite your passion, and align your life with the power of who you really are. I'm Georgia Rose, psychic astrologer. I share the cosmic roadmap that guided me through astrology, tarot, and inner knowing into authentic living. I'm here to help you decode your soul's cosmic story, reconnect with your passion, and create the life you are meant to live. It all starts within, and it all starts now in the soul space. Hey everybody, it's Georgia Rose, and I'm in the soul space. Welcome to the show, our podcast, our weekly Monday night podcast, which we do live on Strong Island TV. And so welcome. Tonight we are going to talk about something few astrologers ever really talk about, and that is the dark moon and the moon going into the new moon in Aries. Few astrologers talk about a dark moon because I think it kind of has a scary sort of connotation, but we'll talk about that tonight. And then I really just kind of wanted to have a conversation with you guys about how I'm feeling this energy and what I really think is going on energetically in the world. So welcome. I am your psychic astrologer, Georgia Rose, and we are the Zenkuda community. We are a community of like-minded and like-hearted individuals who come together, and we talk about all kinds of spiritual stuff in order to enhance love and joy in our lives. So I am going to start with the moon stuff, but for those of you who are veterans to watching the show, that I believe we all take ourselves way too seriously. So we start every show with a cosmic comedy. So take it away, Bobby, and this will make sense when I come back. It's time for Cosmic Comedy, where Mercury retrograde is the main character, the lunations are loony, and the stars are a punchline.
Bouncing back and one day I am gonna always a chemical reaction, hysterical and useless, hysterical and you know where you are, you know where you are, storm collapsing, flowing, bouncing back and one day I am gonna go away, chemical reaction, hysterical and useless, hysterical and
Oh, sorry, my hay fever's kicking off. Pollen count's too high. I'm gonna have to go back inside until summer.
So the reason why I chose that video is because it's very symbolic of us leaving Pisces energy, which is, obviously in the winter for those of you who are Pisces birthdays, and coming into Aries energy, which is obviously the spring for those of you who have Aries birthdays. So I chose that video because that's how I'm feeling the energy right now. I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other night, maybe it was last night, and we were talking about how all of a sudden, this happened to me 2 days in a row. I was just, doing something. I actually was doing a puzzle, trying to just let my mind kind of just relax. Good to do things like that once in a while, right? And all of a sudden, this sadness came over me, and I felt like I wanted to cry. And there was really nothing going on in my life or anything that would make one feel that way. So I started to think, oh, well, maybe I'm just picking up energy or something. And then the next morning, it happened to me again. And then my friend had called me and she said that she also felt the same thing. A couple of other people told me that. And sometimes just feeling emotion well up randomly. So at first I thought, okay, well, maybe it's because of all these things that are going on in the world. And, we're picking up all this very volatile energy. But then I realized that we have a new moon coming into Aries on the 17th, which is Friday. And we have 8 planets in Aries, which I've been talking about in our last few shows. And Aries is an energy of new energy, emerging energy, independence, liberation. And all those planets were in Pisces before they all egressed into Aries recently. And now we have this moon in Pisces going into the moon in Aries as a new moon on Friday. So what that means is the time just before the new moon which would be starting tomorrow, 3 days ahead, the 14th, Tuesday, the 14th of April, is a time known as the dark moon. And the dark moon is the final phase of the moon before it goes into a new moon. And traditionally in astrology, that's a time where we observe quiet, right? The moon is dark, right? We observe quiet. It's almost like an invisible period just before the new moon occurs. It's a period where it's very symbolic of believing in things we can't see, or our spidey senses or our intuition gets very heightened during the dark moon. So many people use dark moon and new moon, interchangeably, but that's not really true what it is. They're two very different energetic points. The dark moon is the waning moon. It's a balsamic phase, which means that it occurs 2 to 3 days before the new moon. And the moon is invisible to the eye at that time. So as it approaches the sun, it will become more visible, and then we have the new moon. But the vibe is introspective. It's quiet. It's also a time for resting and releasing. So now if we look at the bigger picture, we're coming off years of Piscean energy. Saturn was there for 3 years. Neptune was there since 2009. So when you think of, 2011, Neptune was in Pisces since 2011. And both Saturn and Neptune just went into Aries. And we have all these other planets following them. Mercury is going into Aries on the 15th, which is Wednesday rather, I'm sorry. We've got Mars just went in over the weekend. So we've got these 8 planets in Aries, all new energy, and they have been in Pisces. So what am I getting at? Well, quite frankly, the heaviness we feel is the releasing of tremendous amount of Pisces energy. Years where we were very tested in our spirituality, our belief systems. Neptune rules Pisces. It was there from 2011 until just recently. This was times when we were really dealing with a lot of things where our boundaries were blurred, because Neptune in Pisces is all about the fog, the blurriness, the mist, like what is true and what is not true. What do we really believe and not believe? It's people pleasing at times. It's the martyr. It can be energy of, where did we let our boundaries become blurred? Where did we diminish ourselves? Where did we stay in the relationship, the job, the house, the whatever? Because, I'll just stay here because it's a lot easier than actually doing anything and moving. And so now with this dark moon at the end of Pisces and all of those 8 planets egressing into Aries, and for the first time in years, we don't really have anything in Pisces once this moon now going into Aries in the next couple of days from Pisces. It's a time where we are dealing with whatever was occurring since 2011, the last 3 years of Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is structure and framework. It wants us to make the boundary. It wants us to take the action. But in Pisces, we couldn't. In Pisces, we were procrastinating and blinding ourselves to what the truth was, and doing things and running complexes in our life in order to enable us and others to not respect boundaries, to allow them to be blurred, to diminish our own powerfulness. And so that's the energy. And so all of those losses, Elaine just mentioned in the comments that her husband died. All of those losses, all of those endings that occurred during Pisces, the parents we lost, the siblings, the moves that we made and never really allowed ourselves to absorb the impact, right? The changes in our structures, our governments, our schooling, our education, our religion, our culture, all the diversity, all of those things now, as we are finally at the end of an era, when the dark moon is passing over all of that energy and all of those timelines and all of those energetic portals, and stirring it up a little bit. And we'll feel sorrowful. We'll feel heavy. We'll feel sad as we say goodbye to those times. I was driving home from the office this afternoon, and I realized when I thought about and became a little bit introspective about all of the differences, even in the way I do my real estate career and in the ways that I deal with people and communicate with people. And AI is now on the forefront, and even the way we dress is very different. Everything's very casual in business and all of these things. And when I thought about a lot of those changes, I said to myself, well, it's no wonder you're feeling emotions crop up, because there's some things that were part of your life and part of your essence and part of the containers that we live in. And they're really like saying goodbye now. We're saying goodbye to them. And one of the ones was very simple. I passed a couple of diners in the last couple of days. And, um, I remember going out dancing until 2 a.m. and you'd go to the diner and get a burger and, breakfast, Sunday breakfast after church at the diner. And, always Christmas week, you ended up in the diner at some point for breakfast with whoever company you had, right? And I passed 2 diners the other day that are now empty. And I thought to myself, wow, something as simple as like a tradition as breakfast at the diner is different and changed. And so as we release and let go of all these traditions, it's like we don't know where we're supposed to be. We don't know what is the future yet. We haven't really seen it. And so all these things are piling up in our consciousness for the last several years. All the things we really had to release and let go of, the homes we maybe left and downsized or maybe moved to a bigger house or whatever the changes were. And they seem very final now because the world is changing at such an accelerated way. And the reason the world is changing at such an accelerated way is because Aries is fire and new emerging energy. It's independence and liberation. And we've got 8 flippin' planets there. And then you add to that on the 25th of April, Uranus, where it's been in Taurus for the last 7 years, is now going to go into an air sign, Gemini. So now we are finally in fire and air after decades of being in water and earth. And we're feeling it. We're feeling the change. We're feeling the little bit of loss. And it doesn't mean that the loss has to be devastating or something that's really grieving or bad or sorrowful. It just means that it's something that we might miss. We might miss it a little bit, like the breakfast at the diner, and I just got this really like bittersweet feeling. And I thought, wow, society really has changed. Like we don't really eat diner food anymore, right? We go to Mexican or we go to a healthy place, or, people don't go for breakfast anymore. They just drive through Starbucks. So even little things like that have changed, right? When we go to the supermarket, I remember when I was in my brief stint as a housewife back in the 90s, I remember, it just wasn't for me, guys, but you can imagine. But as my brief stint as a housewife, I remember one of my pleasures was going to the local King Cullen grocery store and seeing the same checker every week. And we'd have like little conversation. And well, now there's no checker to have a conversation with. So it's all these little things. Life has changed as we know it, and it's never coming back. So the emotions that well up in us, whether we identify them and we label them as, I miss my partner, or I miss my mom, or I miss the diner, it's a whole culmination of all the energy that the world is in right now. And we feel it on a deeply energetic level. We feel it unconsciously. We feel it subconsciously. We feel it consciously. You just look at what's going on in the globe right now, and the world is really changing rapidly. Boundaries are changing, geographical boundaries. The boundary of integrity has changed, right? We have world leaders now who use profanity, and we have world leaders now who say whatever they want without any kind of integrity about, well, I should be a role model for children, or I should be someone that my country looks up to. And I'm not making that in a political way. We're seeing that all across the globe. It's not exclusive to one country or another. So we're seeing this deterioration of the value systems that we had. Now they will be replaced by other value systems that hopefully will be equally or better. But for right now, those of us who've been living on the planet a while, we're seeing the things that we've always kind of depended on, or what was habit for us, disintegrating. And the reason why they have to disintegrate is because the new era, which I'm going to tell you the ignition point is this new moon on the 17th. The new moon in that Aryan energy, that newness, that emerging energy of liberation and independence and power, right? Ruled by Mars. 8 planets in there. It's a rocket launch for the new world and the new energy. And what I can tell you is the old has to disintegrate, we have to disintegrate from it. It no longer feels like anything we can integrate any longer. It no longer feels right. Or like I might mourn not going to the diner for breakfast, but the truth is I don't really want to go to the diner for breakfast. I want to eat maybe a bowl of Cheerios or some fruit, and I don't want noise around me. So I'm disintegrated from those things. Everything in the world is interrelated. And the astrology is the map and the roadmap and the backdrop for everything that's happening right now. So as the old world disintegrates and we disintegrate from it, there will be a new world that we integrate with. And that's Aries energy. Pisces dissolves. Pisces blurs boundaries. Pisces disintegrates. Aries integrates. It initiates new energy. It initiates new world. It initiates a new life. It initiates our liberation and independence. And if we step into it and allow it to guide us in the right way, not warlike, not aggressively, but with a soul purpose, which is what Aries energy wants to do. It wants to enhance your relationship with yourself, your own self-independence and self-reliability. Aries energy is the starter. It's cardinal. It starts spring. It's the buds coming up from the ground, the new energy. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that the next 2 days, from the 14th to the 17th when the new moon occurs, it's a time for introspection about what your future really is. It's a time for what do you want to bring into your future and what do you want to integrate with? Where do you want to take up space and emerge interrelated and integrating into what you really want in your life? And where are those things that you really want to allow to disintegrate from the things that you really want to purge? So this is a purge start. Purge start. And that purge can be something as simple as going through your closet and throwing out clothes or giving clothes to charity, or it can be something as simple as having the conversation with a sibling that you never had, saying, hey, I'm not taking your crap anymore, in a loving way. Whatever and wherever the purge is occurring, it's doing it so that you can integrate new energy in the space. The old energy has to disintegrate first. And it's my firm belief that all disintegration, right, everything that dissolves, that we release, it's divinely guided so something else can go in the space. Now, I know that a lot of people have loss, and I understand that that is something very hard to accept, that it would be any kind of liberation or release. But those people that we've lost, and believe me, I've lost many, many people, we're going to be with them again. It's not permanent. It's just part of the cycle. You know, and this energy is a really great lesson in that impermanence, because a lot of things that we have to let go of, you know, I keep saying breakfast at the diner or the way we communicate, right? When cell phones first came in, we had a hard time, you know, integrating that. And now we wouldn't know what to do without them. So there's lessons in that impermanence, the ebb and flow. And there will be things invented in these next couple of years in a very rapid way that we can't even comprehend yet. So we don't know how to integrate them. And that's part of the fog, right? So we are, two songs kept going through my head. You guys know I call it Spirit Radio. The one song was, some of you will remember, I think it was Britney Spears made a movie. And she's in the movie, she's like, there's a song that she sings, not a girl, not yet a woman. And that lyric was going through my head all day, because it's almost like we're not over the past yet. We're not completely done with the past yet, but we're not necessarily into the future. We're in the in-between stage. And the in-between stage is the dark moon from the 14th to the 17th until the new moon comes. And there's things that are happening in between that too, which are really adding and making this energy very powerful. That dark moon time on the 13th, which is today, Mars and Neptune are together in Aries. There's a video on my YouTube channel about that. It's only 8 minutes long. Venus is sextiling Jupiter and Mercury is sextiling Uranus. What does that mean? Basically, Venus and Jupiter are in harmony. That's our love, our desire, the things that are meaningful to us are being expanded. Why is that happening? It's a beautiful gift from the universe during a time when we need to be introspective so that we can gain clarity as to what we really want to bring meaningfully into our future. And then we have Mercury sextile Uranus. Why is that? Uranus is the great awakener. It's sudden, shocking change, yes, but it's also the great awakener. Mercury is our thought pattern. So here we have this perfect lineup of this dark moon of introspection, quiet time, allowing us to look back and reflect on such a long period of time of Pisces energy. Look at where our life is going and where it has been. Integrate those energies while our value system, the things that are meaningful to us, are expanded. And while Uranus and Mercury are giving us the clarity to understand it. Unbelievable times that we are in. So blessed, even though you look out in the world and you don't think so. But that's why astrology is the roadmap. It shows us the guidance of why we're blessed and why our soul came here to be in this energy. So how are we going to use this energy this week? And then on the 15th, Mercury goes into Aries. So all of this Aries energy, right now, Mercury's in Pisces, making us retrospect, making us look back, making us like, where was my mindset all these years? And then it's going to pop into Pisces on the 15th. The 16th, the sun conjuncts Chiron for healing. And then on the 17th, during the new moon, Mercury conjuncts Neptune. And I'm not going to say that that's going to be foggy, although it might. I think Mercury conjuncting Neptune on the new moon gives us the thought process we need to dissolve the old patterns. Because Mercury dissolves, right? And it's on a new moon in Aries, so it's new emerging energy. So I want to give you guys a couple of things that I am going to do, because I'm going to do a lot of meditating and a lot of things. So this dark moon is in the final phase of the lunar cycle, the moment right before the beautiful new moon, from the 14th to the 17th, and other planets are jockeying around the zodiac. But think of it like the exhale before the inhale, because we really want to inhale that Aries new moon energy. So just allow yourself to release. It's the pause before the beginning. So think about what you want to do. You don't have to do it yet. This is the planning couple of days here. This is like, I think, as we get to like the 16th and the 17th, when the new moon comes in, this is like if you can envision you're sitting in a theater and you've been watching the previews, and the previews showed you all the movies you've already seen in your life. And now the lights on the 16th are going to go dim, and the curtain's going to go up on a brand new movie. And you've got the thought pattern and the wisdom from all those Pisces years to have clarity to know what you want to bring in the future. I mean, that's just it gives me chills to think about. It's like such a beautiful time. So this is a very energetic cycle, and that's also why we're tired and a little bit exhausted. Energetically, a dark moon is when the subconscious rises to the surface, so your dreams are going to be really active. And wherever Aries and Pisces are in your chart, that's where this is all going to be kind of happening. So let me say hello to a couple of people. I want to say hello to Elaine and Joanna. Joanna just wrote a book. Her book is out. I would love to have her on the show maybe next month talking about that. She just found that out right now. And Elaine just lost her best friend, having a hard time. So I want to say, and good evening, Cheryl. So I want to say there's a lot of releasing going on. I mean, I've been getting calls almost daily of people who are losing people or hearing about someone that's passed. That's because this is such an energetic time of old cycles closing. So I don't know, the situation with your friend and anyone out there who's losing a loved one. But in a lot of these situations, one of the things that I have noticed is that there are people who maybe have been in pain or in sickness a while, whether it's mental or physical. And as a result, they're released in this energy from that, and they're in a peaceful place now. I know Elaine, who's on, will back me up on this, where, in the spiritual world, many of us who are readers, or many of us who do readings, or really, kind of float around with the angels and are in other realms, like myself, we don't think of death as death. It's transition. Energy never, ever, ever, ever dies. It transmutes and transforms. Energy never dies. Love never dies. Your soul never dies. Energetically, it goes on to different realms, different lives, everything. And that is why no matter who we lose, we can feel their energy if we really allow ourselves to. We can feel their love. We can feel them even though they're not physically on the earth, and we miss that. We can still feel them. So I'm sending love out to Elaine for peace and healing for her, and anyone else who in the audience has lost a loved one. It's very, very difficult. And in this time, it's also these next few days when that rush comes back on us of people that we've lost. We're integrating the energy that maybe we never really gave ourselves a chance to. And I know also, like I can attest to the fact that as we grow older, we experience this more and more, and we lose a lot of friendships. It's very difficult. So old emotions are going to be asked to be released in this energy. Patterns that we've outgrown become really obvious. That's why I say we're sitting in the movie theater. We're seeing the reviews of all our old tapes and life. And then the theater's going to go dark. Maybe take a few hours to mourn those things, right? And then the curtain goes up on a whole new life, whole new world, whole new energy. We're going to feel tired. We're going to feel emotional because we're in between. We're going to feel anxious. We're in between. We're releasing the past, but we don't know what the future is quite yet. This is in between time. We're closing out a cycle, but we're in between chapters, and that's why it's exhausting. Emotions can spike because the sun and the moon will be in the same sign. The moon has no light, it's dark. The subconscious becomes louder than the conscious mind, and we feel more. We have a case of the feels. Our realizations become harder. Old memories resurface. We get triggered. It may feel like you're reliving old stories and on the verge to withdraw or go inward. You have a great urge to do that. You're on the verge of maybe deep emotion, and then all of a sudden you feel more clarity. So here's a few things to remember, okay? Allow yourself to cry if you need to cry. Pisces is the past, Aries is the future. We're moving into the energy, we're in between. We're going to feel nostalgic, like me, passing diners, right? Thinking about people from the past, questioning our direction. Now, one of the things that I'm going to tell you is that although we're questioning and we have some of these bittersweet things coming forward, you're not falling apart. You're clearing space. Emotions have to be processed so that they're not carried with us. So you're clearing space. This is deciding what you want to bring into your future. This is deciding what you want to bring into your future. We're releasing and making decisions. Even though it can seem cloudy, that's really what we're doing in the in-between time. It's a void, all right? But don't be afraid of it, because that void has wisdom, believe it or not. It's like being in the womb. It's the place where new beginnings are conceived. It's like they're going to, those thoughts and the clarity is going to come to us almost like in vitro, right? So if you don't feel motivated, you feel a little stuck, it's because you're processing. You're processing. So just allow it. And the other thing I'm going to say also, and this is something I've been working on, so I'm going to share it with you guys. Don't confuse clarity with honesty. You know, sometimes we get clarity, especially when we're looking at the old movies in our head, and we're like, wow, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should do that, or whatever. That's clarity. Honesty is really different. Honesty is taking responsibility for the clarity. Honesty is like, you know, maybe I could have done that different. I really have to work on that. You know, I do have that quality. I do maybe talk too fast and say the wrong thing, or, you know, I can be really biting with my responses, or, you know what, sometimes I can be jealous. That's honesty. Clarity is, well, I was a little jealous there. I shouldn't have done that. But honesty is correction. It is purification. Honesty is purification. Just remember that, you know, because this is a time when we're going to let go of a lot of heavy stuff. And that means giving ourselves permission to be human and forgiving ourselves for things that, maybe we could have done a little better. And being really honest about it and loving yourself through it. So letting go of what's heavy means, what are you carrying that isn't yours? And I'm going to tell you, in the Pisces years, guys, we carried a lot of shit that wasn't ours. Our parents' shit, our grandparents' shit, our kids' shit, you know, we carried a lot of stuff that probably is not ours. So allow yourself to release that now. Ask yourself what you're forcing. What am I grasping? What relationships am I in, you know, with siblings or friends or coworkers that I'm really kind of forcing this? I'm kind of grasping at it. Maybe I'm in my mind, I have the perfect Sunday that I want to have, and like I'm trying to create it, but that other person really isn't conforming to that, right? Or what am I forcing at work? Like, I'm going to get this promotion. I know they'll recognize me. I know I'm appreciated, and you're really not. Honesty, because you don't want to bring those delusions and illusions with you to the future, because they will get you nowhere. The cycles, the loops that we're in, we have to be really honest about in this energy, because we don't want to bring those things that are probably going to disintegrate anyway into the future to waste more time. Time is too important. And what are you holding on to out of fear? That's a big one for all of us, and that's what I mean by honesty. What's in alignment, what's not. And in this energy, also allow your nervous system to rest, because these are really big things going on behind the scenes being orchestrated for us. And I really feel like these are times when our nervous systems are in real heightened. I can see it when I go in the markets, when I go in, the public, when I even drive in the car. Like, people are very much, the whole parasympathetic nervous system is like in survival mode, and it's making everyone very squirrely. So allow yourself to repair and reset. Take a day off of work if you have to, and stay home and watch 20 million people be out of work tomorrow because I told them to. That'll never happen. So take the time, instead of coming home and cleaning the house and making dinner and making 10 phone calls, take a warm bath, go for a walk, repair your nervous system, because the next group of years ahead of us, the next era, is going to be one we really want to make precious use of our energy. So here's some of the themes that the dark moon is going to bring up. It's all about identity. Where have you allowed yourself to be diminished? Where have you forced yourself maybe too much, making your opinion like might is right? Self-worth. How are you having a relationship with yourself? How's that relationship going? Do you hate yourself? Do you blame the child within you for things? Are you feeling really good about yourself and you can be honest with love about things in your life? Welcome, Sarah. I'm glad Sarah made it to the show. And you can always play the show back. It's always on my YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere. Boundaries are going to be another theme as we go into this new moon on the 17th and the dark moon from the previous days. Where have they dissolved in your life? Where did you start out in a relationship thinking you were going to have it a certain way, whether it's siblings or parents or kids or partners, business, romantic, whatever? Where have your relationships dissolved in the Piscean years? You've allowed things to just fall by the wayside, whatever. Emotional honesty, like I just spoke about before. This is, where have I allowed myself to be diminished? Where have I abandoned myself? Where have I allowed myself to maybe be cheated out of things that I should have spoken up for and kind of put a boundary in place? And it's about closing karmic loops, closing karmic loops. Where have you been like a leaky boat? You have all these things karmically that are happening in your life, and you just keep, not addressing them. And now your boat's really leaky and you wonder why you're exhausted. The dark moon is saying to you, you can't carry these things anymore. The new moon in Aries on the 17th is going to say, where do you want to take up space? What's emerging for you? Because you can't carry these things anymore. And the new moon in Aries, well, that's the point. You're not supposed to be carrying these things. Really super energetic week. So there's a ritual that we can do. It's a dark moon release. And basically, you just kind of close your eyes. You take a deep breath, do it in meditation, and just ask yourself, without like overthinking, just whatever the first thing to come to your mind is, ask yourself, what am I done with? What am I done with? And you're going to feel it like in your body and in your heart. And allow yourself to meditate on that a little bit. You can journal even if you want, maybe light a candle, do some candle gazing, and just say, what am I done with? And then when you feel complete with that thought, ask yourself, what version of me is ready to be released? You know, that person who didn't speak up, that person who worried more about others while your boat was leaking. You know, what version of yourself? Maybe it's the version that can be argumentative and is too forceful with people. Maybe it's the version of yourself that didn't care enough, that was more apathetic. But what is the version of you that you're ready to release? You know, maybe you settled for something that you shouldn't have. And now imagine that version of you that you're ready to release standing in front of you. And you're going to thank them. They protected you. They ran a complex or took an action at a time in your life when you weren't ready to be seen, to be heard, to be empathetic, to be compassionate. And they helped you survive. But now it's time to release that version of yourself because you're stronger now. That version of yourself got you here. Without it, you wouldn't be at this crossroads. But now you're ready for more. So just say in your mind or whatever as you're doing this meditation, thank you. I release you with love. I'm ready to take over now. And if you can, imagine a door behind you. That's the old version of you. And they walk through it, and the door gently closes. And there you are. You haven't abandoned that version of you. You've evolved it. The wisdom, the experiences live within you, but you're different now. And that's the week ahead. So I'm going to thank everybody for watching the Soul Space podcast tonight. If you think this show is valuable and meaningful, if it touched something in you, please share it. The long Pisces cycle is heavy. It's Piscean influence, but we're ending it now. And we're coming into a really beautiful time in our lives. So release those karmic patterns. Allow yourself to enter the Aries era. It's the soul's rebirth. It's an initiation. It's courageous. It's taking action. It's all about your selfhood, your relationship with yourself, and the soul's desire to begin again. New, fresh, take up space where you really want to do that the most. So surrender the Pisces part and let Aries in, because it's asking you to choose a new version of yourself. Now, this can feel difficult at first. It can feel restless and urgent because we don't know exactly what the future is yet. We really want movement here, but that means being courageous enough to step into the mist. Future is not clear, but know that the universe is wise and loving and always protecting you. Very intense shifts right now. Please, please be gentle with yourself. Starting tomorrow up until Friday, we're in that dark moon phase, the introspection, the womb, the space between cycles. We're moving from water to fire, from ending to beginning, and from dissolving to defining. So define the new you. I will be here every step of the way to guide you. If a private reading feels right to you, you feel like you're in alignment with sharing that sacred space with me, I would love to do that. Just book a reading at zenkuda.com. In the meantime, I'll be making lots of videos on my YouTube channel, Zenkuda. Please subscribe. You'll get a little notification when a new video comes up. And of course, you can find me on Instagram at Zenkuda Official and on Facebook at Zenkuda Soul Space. I love each and every one of you. I am sending you out the most highest vibe for a great week ahead. And you'll see me again next Monday night in the Soul Space. Thank you so much. I am Georgia Rose, your psychic astrologer. And remember, find me at Zenkuda on YouTube.